Alright guys, Newcastle have just beaten Southampton by a goal to nil in the opening leg of the League Cup semi-final. In a quite interesting game, to be honest. Newcastle, they dominated the first half. I thought Southampton barely had a kick in the opposition's final third in the opening 40 minutes of the first half, I would say. Well, 40 might be a stretch, but definitely the first half an hour, Newcastle had far more of the ball, got it in dangerous areas, but the finishing just wasn't there at all in the first half from Newcastle. I think this was mostly demonstrated by Joe Willock, of all people. A couple of shots that he absolutely blazed miles over the bar. I thought he should have done better with them. And there weren't too many clear-cut opportunities other than that, though, for Newcastle. I thought Southampton were reasonably good at defending. I think it was more because the amount of bodies they were getting back. They weren't really looking to attack at all in the opening stages of the game. And Newcastle thought they took the lead through Joe Linton, but it got disallowed. And for me, on this one, I kind of have to disagree, I think, because there's absolutely nothing Joe Linton can do in that situation to, even if it does, it's question over does it even hit his arm. And if it does, and I think it might done a little bit, it comes up, hits his chest, it hits his midriff region, then maybe brushes his arm. There's absolutely nothing Joe Linton can do in this situation, and he puts the ball in the back of the net as he should really. It's an open goal, but there isn't a lot he can do in that situation when it's like that. So I think the fact that he's got his arm down by his side, I think even if it does brush his arm, it should be allowed to count. It was really good play, I should say, from Joe Willock in the build-up to that goal. And by his finishing, I thought Joe Willock had a decent game tonight. He was just, one of those games where everything seems to bounce up before you strike it. So he skied pretty much every shot he had. But nonetheless, the goal got disallowed, and the final stages of the half were slightly marred by the unfortunate injury to Moussa Djenepo, as Southampton actually started to get into a few dangerous positions in the final 5 minutes or so of the half. Nick Pope had to, go for the ball, and he wins it, and there's nothing he can do in that situation but collide with Djenepo. So it's just one of them unfortunate ones. It was a concussion substitution from Southampton, so hopefully it's nothing too bad, and hopefully he's back on the pitch soon. But it didn't look a nice one. The one player who stood out to me in the first half for Southampton in attack was actually Sekou Mara up front. I thought he was the only one who looked like he had a bit of life to him up front. I thought Djenepo, whilst he was on the pitch, and Orsic, they were very ineffective. So when the subs came on for the attacking players, Armstrong, Che Adams and Samuel Edozie, I thought they had a much bigger impact in the second half. Because in the second half, Newcastle, they had quite a lot of possession and a couple of really good chances right at the start of the half in the first 10 minutes or so. And they had to score. Joe Linton skied an absolute sitter, and Botman arguably could have done a bit better after Miguel Almiron, who was brilliant all 75 or so minutes he was on the pitch. By the way, he had a really good game. He did really well to create those chances, and was a big part of why Newcastle did perform well tonight. But then from the 55th minute, Southampton had a solid 10-15 minutes where they were causing a lot of problems, and probably should have scored on one or two occasions. I thought anyway. Che Adams had a really good chance when they were like that. That's the one thing Southampton were doing, and not many teams do this against Newcastle. Managing to get past the Newcastle defence with a bit of space in between the defence and the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, Che Adams, after he, as he so often does, wasted the biggest opportunity. Nearly did score on a second chance a few minutes later, but the big opportunity he did, definitely didn't take. And then, Newcastle got their goal with about 15 minutes to go. This time, Joe Linton, at the third time, he could have scored, managed to get his goal. It was absolutely superb play from Alexander Isak on the right to get past his man and put it across goal on a plate for Joe Linton. Couldn't miss. Although you'd say that with the second chance that Joe Linton had in this game, in fairness. But it was a brilliantly set up goal by Alexander Isak. And to be fair to Joe Linton, it was brilliant movement from him. He timed his run to perfection, found the space in between the two defenders. Brilliant goal. And Southampton responded really well to that, to be fair. Adam Armstrong, who was playing in the second half like he had a point to prove, and I guess he the fact that Newcastle, he never really got a big opportunity with the club whilst he was there. I feel as though, he probably did feel as though he had a point to prove. He just looked like he was fired up for it, and he was, a little bit unlucky not to have scored when Southampton went on the attack, probably about a minute after conceding. Unfortunately, the shot that he takes, it does. He doesn't get the greatest connection, and it sort of rebounds off, I think it was Sven Botman, onto his hand and then back onto Botman and in. So the goal 100% had to be disallowed, unfortunately, for Armstrong. And then the Southampton just looked like they had given up, especially when they had Douye Shaleta sent off. The first yellow card was a 100% yellow card because he just chopped down Almiron in the first half when Almiron could have been through on goal. And the second one, same thing, maybe a little less aggressive, but still same principle of stopping Saint-Maximin from going through on goal. So it was definitely a deserved red card, unfortunately, for the Croatian. And he will miss the second leg, which is a little bit of a miss for Southampton, I guess, really. They could have done with him at the centre of their defence for what is going to be a mountain to climb at St James's Park next week. And there was a little bit of heat between the players towards the end of the game. Lianco especially getting in a bit of a tussle with Saint-Maximin and Bruno Guimaraes. Lianco comes across as one of those players who just tries to be aggressive for no reason. No one will have done anything to provoke him, but he just has this inner anger in him that he has to release every now and again, or so it seems to me anyway. And it's a similar thing with Alcaraz actually on his debut. And I thought Alcaraz had a solid game in the centre of the park for Southampton. Really impressive debut, and he looks like he could be a good signing for Southampton. Anyway, we'll get into player ratings. Start off with Southampton. Bazunu I've given a 6. I didn't feel as though for the amount of times that Newcastle troubled Southampton and got into good positions and took shots off, I didn't feel as though Bazunu was actually tested on that many occasions, which, I mean, I don't know how Southampton will feel about that, because on the one hand Newcastle were getting in a lot of dangerous positions, but their finishing wasn't great. I guess on another night it could have been a little bit worse for Southampton had Bazunu been in bad form. In defence I've given Walker-Peters a 6. I thought it's very rare that Walker-Peters has a bad game, and this game was no exception. It was a solid performance at right back. Salisu I've given a 6. I think he's pushing on a 7 as well. I thought he had a very good game, slightly out of position at left back. He's very athletic though, so it didn't cause him many problems playing out of position, especially coming up against a tricky opponent like Almiron. The two centre-backs, Lianco, I've given a 5, and Chileta I've given a 4. I would have given Chileta a 5 had he not been sent off, but I just thought both of them struggled quite often in this game and found themselves out of position at times. So yeah, not great game for either of them, especially Chileta considering the red card. Then in midfield, I've given Alcaraz a 7. I thought he was arguably Southampton's best player in this game. Really impressive debut, and looks like a player who could help get Southampton out of the mess they are in the Premier League at the moment. Diallo I've given a 6 again, another good performance in midfield, put a few tackles in, won the ball back on multiple occasions for Southampton. Ward-Prowse I've also given a 6. I didn't feel as though he got involved as much as he might have wanted to, Ward-Prowse, but I still think since he's been moved into this advanced role by Nathan Jones, I feel as though it's really suited him, because when he's playing in the deeper role in midfield as part of a two-man midfield in front of the defence, it doesn't, he's a very creative player. It sometimes stops him from getting involved in the attack, because I feel as though if he was playing for a more dominant team, then playing that deeper role would definitely suit him. But because there's not the runners in front of him when he's playing this deeper role, or when he has been over the past couple of seasons, especially last season, he just hasn't got the players in front of him to play the ball into. Orsic and Genepo have given 5s. Again, I think I said earlier, not enough involvement from either of them in the first half, hence why, Genepo went off through injury, but Orsic got subbed off at half time. Sekou I've given a 6 when he was on the pitch, ran his socks off. Good performance from him. And then the subs, Armstrong had given a 7. I thought from the moment he came on the pitch, worked his socks off and was unlucky with the goal on another day. I don't think it should have counted, but I think on another day it doesn't hit his arm and still possibly somehow goes in. And then Adams and Nadozi have given 6s. They had a fairly positive impact on the game, caused Newcastle a few problems in the second half. And then Newcastle, Pope have given a 6. Not overly tested, had a couple of good saves to make. But yeah, Trippier and Shah and Botman have given 6s as well. There weren't many moments where they seemed to be, completely at danger. There was a 10-15 minute spell midway through the second half, but other than that, they looked reasonably comfortable. Byrne I've given a 5 though, because I thought there were a couple of times at left back when he just seems to be a bit complacent on the ball and lost it to an opponent. So I think a 5 is the best I can give him, really. Sorry, I've got a bit of sore throat today. Longstaff I've given a 6. Again, similar to Diallo for Southampton, I just thought he put up a fight for Newcastle in midfield and deserves a 6. Guimaraes given a 7. Really good game. One thing I would say though is he knows how to do things maybe a little bit dirty, and I think he was at times a little bit close to boiling over in a few heated moments with Lianco and Alcaraz for Southampton, but he managed to keep his composure, so fair play to him. And had an otherwise solid game. Willock have given a 6 because his finishing was poor, but other than that, he stretched the Southampton midfield and defence, played really well. And then my man of the match, Miguel Almiron, I thought he was at the heart of pretty much everything good that Newcastle did whilst he was on the pitch. Of course, I don't think he was on the pitch for the goal, but he was a brilliant performer today. Wilson have given a 6. Wilson's going through a bit of a strange stage at the minute. over the past month or so, because he doesn't really look like scoring for Southampton, but he's still not playing too badly. It's you know, he's doing a lot off the ball pressing, and he does seem to link play up well, but he just doesn't really get many shots off, I don't feel. But yeah, still, I've given him 6. Decent performance. Joe Linton, I've given a 7. On another night, could have had a hat-trick, but yeah, he did well for his goal. Probably should have scored another though. Anyway, Newcastle look like they're going to make it through to the final. The job's not done yet though. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.